Good morning, class. This is Mr. A. Sorry I didn't get this lecture up yesterday, but my voice wasn't acting right. So today we're going to talk about rhetoric and rhetorical analysis in advertising. This should be a brief lecture. Make sure you read Selnow's book, pages 244 to 248. So first, let's talk about Maslow's hierarchy in advertisement. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a theory based in psychology, produced by Abraham Maslow, I believe in 1943, in a study he wrote entitled A Theory of Human Motivation. This study that he wrote is used to see how humans intrinsically partake in behavioral motivation. The goal is to attain the highest level or stage, and each level needs to be met to progress and move forward. So if we start at the bottom, we see that the two lower levels, the physiological needs and the safety needs, are at the bottom. So physiological needs are simple things like food, water, warmth, rest. Um, Safety needs or protection, security. So those are the basic needs. And then the next level is the psychological needs, which we have here as social needs, but it could be belongingness and love needs. So that's intimate relationships with friends and family. So then it's esteem needs, right? This is still in the psychological part, and it's prestige and a feeling of an accomplishment, like running a marathon or just something. And the last level, or the highest level, I should say, is self actualization, achieving one's full potential, including creative activities. So like graduating from college or writing a play that's on Broadway or um, being in a movie, so on and so forth. It's reaching your full potential that you want to achieve in life. Moving on. So this chapter really is about like the visual perspective, the male gaze, the visual pleasure theory. Um, so how do we react or think when we see certain objects or we view certain images? So the visual pleasure theory argues that visual images in the media encourages viewers to look pleasurably at images via the male gaze. And the male gaze describes the way viewers look at people presented and represented in visual images by identifying with heterosexual male actors like male norms. So the male gaze can be used by a man or a woman. So when we're looking at things with a male gaze, we're looking at it through the male eyes, you know. And I say this, or we say this, because the person that's dominant in media are males, particularly white males. All right. So Jacques Lacan, I'm going into the mirror stage. I'm sorry now, and he saw the mirror stage as a permanent structure of human experience throughout life. It symbolizes the mirror stage symbolizes an ongoing sexual relationship we have with body images. Um, we identify and describe we identify, and desire to be like different images we encounter or what we see. The sexy body, all over magazines, you see men in with a six pack and great pecs on the chest and defined muscles. Um, they're thrown at us in commercials, on television, in movies, the magazines, like people, you know, the 10 most sexiest bodies in Hollywood, so on and so forth. These are what we strive. This is the mirror image we strive to be like these bodies. Now, some of you are saying, like, not me. I don't feel that way. Well, we're inundated with images like this. So a lot of people feel like if you mimic these images, you will have a certain amount of status in your surroundings. Like women will like you, men will like you, so on and so forth. Um, this is how we get our self image. So let's look on to the two key principles of visual pleasure theory is scopophilia and narcissism. So scopophilia is the love of or pleasurable sexually arousing looking. So it's the love of looking at something that's sexually arousing. Viewers are drawn to gaze at images as beautiful, erotic, or fantastic. This is why men and women are used in advertisement. So there is a image on this slide right here of Madonna with Truth and Dare. Um, that's kind of like the mirror image. She's kind of looking at herself. So if she was another person, she's picturing herself as the person in the mirror. So narcissism is labeled is the label used to describe excessive self-love based on one's self-image um, as our result of the pursuit of the mirror image. So that's like that group that wrote "I'm too sexy for my shirt," meaning like I shouldn't be wearing a shirt because my body is that sexy. This person has a, I don't know, a healthy confidence about him or herself. This is the person that might take 1,000 selfies a day and post them on every type of social media. Uh, so we talked about scopophilia and narcissism. So let's look at fetishism. So fetishism is like getting pleasure from openly looking at objects that are satisfying in itself. So in advertisement, we can look at the picture here, the young lady. I don't know who she is. It may be Madonna with her breast exposed and the perfume of cologne between her breasts. So people might get aroused by looking at that picture, which you're really not focusing on the cologne or what the cologne or the perfume will do for you. You're focusing on the position that the cologne or perfume is in. This is done purposely to sell products. Uh, Voyeurism is when people are engaged in sexual, sordid, or scandalous acts and are being watched without them knowing it. It's like in the old days they called it the peeping Tom. So what's important is the key to voyeurism is that the actors do not consent to being watched. So sometimes, I guess, looking at pornography or gazing at these pictures here um, that are taken, people become, voyeurs. Basically, all of these slides that I've shown you um, is saying something beyond the surface message. So remember, we talked about, or you took a quiz in denotative and connotative. I'm giving that away. Was in the quiz. It was because if you read your book, you saw that in the chapter. And both denotative is like the actual meaning, and connotative is what you don't see. So we use this in commercial advertisement here. We use the mirror stage, scopophilia, narcissism, fetishism, and voyeurism because here they're obviously selling sex and sexual desire. Um, even though denotatively, if you look at it, they're trying to sell cologne. But if you look at the connotative message, it's like they're selling sex. If you wear this, if you wear Gucci guilty, you will attract this type of woman, or if you wear the other cologne, you will have women stripping for you and just opening up their shirts and being bare breasted. It's like those Axe commercials where they took the so-called geeky guy in school and sprayed him with Axe, and then all these girls just came and start hugging on him, and that's just the way it works. Vice versa, they do it both ways. So this is like uncovering and unpacking these certain advertisements, um, which gets under the surface meaning. Like, you see, the surface meaning is to sell perfumes or cologne, but looking under it, you see it's to sell sex. So in this week's blog, I'm telling you, you need to look at the image, right? And you see it at the table, you describe it, but what does it mean? How do you unpack that image? So good luck with everything, and that ends lecture 2. I'm sorry, lecture 3.